What's going on, voiceover warriors and keyboard ninjas? Welcome back to the channel. Today we're going to be discussing cycle, looping, and repeating. What's the difference? How are they similar? Let's get into it. So first up, let's talk about cycle mode. Cycle mode basically allows you to play back a section of your project on repeat. And cycle mode is a project-based setting. It will play back the entire project, whatever falls between the cycle range. And you can turn on cycle mode by pressing the letter C. So
cycle mode on.
We got a 4-bar loop here, and I just press the letter C to turn cycle on. So if I hit space,
1 bar, 1 beat, 1 tick.
And you see that is just playing back the entire project on a loop. And you can set the range that you have cycled using your locator. So if you know how to set your left and right locators, you can use the left and right locators to set the cycle range. So case in point, if I only want this to play from bar 3, I can move the playhead to bar 3.
2 bars, 3 bars, 1 beat, 1 tick.
And Command Option left bracket will let me set the left locator to the playhead. So now the left locator is at bar 3, and if I go to bar 4,
4 bars, 1 beat, 1 tick,
and set the right locator here, Command Option right bracket to set the right locator to playhead. Now the cycle range is just going to literally play this 1 bar back.
3 bars, 1 beat, 1 tick. 3 bars, 1 beat, 1.
And so that's how you can set what area of the project is cycled. So that's cycling, and I'm going to press C to turn
cycle mode off.
Turn cycle mode off. And now let's talk about looping. Looping is a region-based activity. So whatever region you have selected is the region that will loop, and it will loop until the end of project marker. And you can set the end of project marker in the track timeline area. You can interact with where it says end of project and move that up, and I'll show you that. And if I stop interacting here,
group, out of tracks, group, inspector, group, tracks, tracks, in tracks, tracks, time ruler, timeline, in track off, 128 bars, end marker, value indicator.
You see this is set to 128 bars. You can interact with this and change your end of project marker to wherever you want it to be. All right, so let's go back into track headers.
Tracks header, group, in tracks header, group, track to SoCal, group.
And let's say I press L on this drum track.
Loop on.
So now loop on is selected. So now all the selected regions are set to loop. And right now I just have one region on this track. So when I hit space, you'll realize that the drums will keep going, but the keyboard won't.
3 bars, 3
and
bars.
Actually, let's move this back to the start of the project. So I'm going to hit return.
1 bar, 1 beat, 1 bar, 1 beat, 1 tick.
And you see that just will keep playing and playing and playing and playing and playing. So, and this will play out till the end of the project.
1 bar, 1 beat, 1 tick.
And there you have it. So loop is a region-based activity. Anytime you press L, it's going to loop the region to the end of the project. This is useful if you want to just like have a drum loop play out to the end of the project while you record some guitars or other parts or jam around with some ideas. All right, so I'm going to press L to unloop that. And this time we're going to go into the tracks content area and use the loop handle. The loop handle is nice because it allows us to control how much the region loops. So I'm going to stop interacting here.
Out of tracks, group, in tracks, group.
Let's go into the track content area.
Tracks header, tracks content, in track 1 classic electric piano.
And let's look at this classic electric piano.
In track 1 classic
track
electric piano underscore classic electric piano underscore bib region.
All right, so
in classic electric loop handle. Move left border, move right border, handle. Move right border,
so
handle.
You see right border,
move left border, handle, loop, handle.
And loop handle. By the way, you want to make sure you got an audio track selected. All right, so let me interact with this loop handle.
Loop handle.
All right, and now if I extend this.
4 bars, 2 beats. 5 bars.
All right, so now let's play this.
3 bars, 1 beat, 1 tick.
So you see it starts to loop around again. And
5 bars, 2 beats.
We can
6 bars. 6 bars, 2, 7 bars. 7 bars, 2, 8 bars.
To be 8 bars. So now this will loop twice. This will loop an extra time after the first time. Put the playhead back to the beginning here.
1 bar, 1 beat, 1 tick. 1 bar
So
1 beat 1.
there you have it. You see that loops around 2 times. So you can look at this loop border handle.
8 bars 2 beat, 9 bars, 9 bars 2, 10 bars, 10 bars 2, 11 bars, 11 bars 2 beats, 12 bars.
So 12 bars, that would be around 3 loops because it's a 4-bar region. So the second time will be 8 bars, the third time will be 12 bars. So now if I were to play this, this would play on a loop 3 times. So the nice thing about this loop handle is that you can set how many times you want it to loop.
Out of loop
So
handle.
I'm going to stop interacting here.
Out of classic electric piano underscore bit. Region.
And the thing about this is
5 bars 1 beat, 1 bar 1 beat 1 tick.
if you do control home and end, it says the region still starts at measure 1 and ends at measure 5 because that's where the physical region starts and end. And that is the main reason I don't use that loop border handle. That, and it's more time because you got to go interact with the track contents area, interact with the track background area, etc., etc., etc. So that's the main reason why I don't use the loop border handles. So I'm going to go back and set this back down to just be 4 bar.
In classic electric loop handle.
Interact
In loop
with this.
handle. 11 bar 10 9 8 8 6 5 bars. 4 bars 2 beats. 4 bars.
All right.
Out of loop
So now
handle. Out of classic
this
electric
is right back where we started as 4 bars.
out of track 1 track 1 classic electric piano. Track back out of tracks.
And-
Tracks toolbar. In track edit functions out of track tracks group. In tracks header group. In track 1 classic electric piano. Track 1 classic electric piano.
All right, so now we're back in the track headers, and this is where I generally like to work. I try to avoid going into the track contents area if I can, because it just saves a lot of time. You don't have to interact with stuff. And so on that end, what I like to do is use the repeat function, and that's Command R by default. If I make sure I got a region selected, so
5 bars 1 beat 1 bar 1 beat 1.
that's the region we want to work with, goes from measure 1 to measure 5. If I hit Command R, and I just press Command R twice.
13 bars 1 beat 1. 9 bars 1 beat 1 tick.
So now I'm going to move
Track
off
2
this
SoCal
track
group. Track
and
1
move
classic
back onto
electric
it.
13 bars 1 beat 1 bar 1 beat 1 tick.
So now you see this goes out to measure 13 because I did repeat twice. Now, if I go through these regions, I can see that there are 3 regions on this track. So if I tap the right arrow twice, first time it unselects everything, and the second time it selects the first region on the track. Control N.
5 bars 1 beat 1 tick. 1 bar 1 beat 1 tick.
1. Now if I press the right arrow to move to the next region,
9 bars
Control
1 beat
N,
1 tick. 5 bars 1 beat 1 tick.
Control Home, tap the right arrow one more time.
13 bars 1 beat 1 tick. 9 bars 1 beat 1 tick.
You see we have these 3 regions next to each other. One goes from measure 1 to measure 5 to measure 9 to measure 13. So it's easy to see how many regions you have on a track. It's easy to see how many times you have stuff repeating when you use the repeat command instead of loop command. So that's why I use the repeat command. That, and it's just a key command, saves me from going into the track contents if I want to repeat something. All right, so once again, cycle is a project-based activity. It sets the entire section of the project to play back on repeat for you, and that's useful like if you're trying to dial in an EQ or you're trying to work in an effect and you just want that section to keep playing over and over while you try to dial in that effect. The cycle is useful for that. Looping, you can press the letter L to loop the selected region. And once again, it will just keep playing back until the end of the project, and you can adjust the project end marker in the track timeline area. You'll interact with that, find the end of project, and interact with it, and use VO left and right arrows or VO shift left and right arrows to adjust it. That is useful if you have something you just want to play back until the end of the project on repeat. And once again, you can go into the regions. You can interact with the regions and the track contents in the track background area, and use the loop border handle to adjust how many times it loops. So you can set this 4-bar region to be 8 bars, 12 bars, etc., and it will loop for that many bars. The reason I don't like to do that is if I look at the project later on in time, I might get a little confused, not realizing this thing is set to loop. Why does it keep playing when it says there's only one region here that goes from measure 1 to 5? So I much prefer to use the repeat command. It just repeats the region, and when you look at the track, you see how many regions you have there. And it saves you the time of having to interact with the track contents area. That's it for this tutorial. Thank you so much for checking this out. If you'd like to support the channel, you can do so by making a donation at paypal.me/logic.band, link in the description below. You can also get some one-on-one training if you want to dive deep in any of these topics surrounding Logic, or if you're new to Mac and want to get up to speed with VoiceOver. You can visit logic.band/training for some one-on-one tutoring. And once again, there is a link to that in the description below. Also, don't forget to check the description below for a link to relevant tutorials here on YouTube and or to the blog on logic.band that has some supplemental information for this tutorial. Hope you found that useful and helpful. Please feel free to like and subscribe and share this with someone you know who's new to Logic and VoiceOver. As always, everyone, until next time, happy recording.